Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of the Scott Hamilton Show. And I'm going to say this. I'm just going to jump right into it. I woke up Sunday morning and I started sending these texts to people, just telling them I know nothing about college football. I'm at a loss. I really am at a loss because I went in to week 6 in college football and I had certain expectations. There were certain things that I went out and said, this is going to happen. This is going to happen. Praising this team, praising that team, and kind of tiptoeing towards a particular upset. I swung and missed on a lot of things. And I don't even know where to begin. So thank goodness the IT department at the Scott Hamilton Show has the white grease board here to help me get through the finer points of this. Number one, Georgia. I really, honestly, truly believed that Georgia was on the brink of being upset, of losing not only its first game in forever, but losing at home. I truly felt that. I felt that Kentucky was coming in on a heater after it looked so dominant against Florida, that its ground attack was just the perfect poison for the Georgia Bulldogs, who looked really, really not even elite, not even great, not barely good on defense with regards to stopping and running a game, especially against Auburn the week prior. They allowed Auburn to average 5.1 yards a carry, more than 200 yards. I just felt like the stars were aligning. I really did. And I was wrong. Georgia beat the brakes off Kentucky 51-14, and it wasn't even that close. Georgia hitting another gear like championship teams do, like the Georgia War Machine that we've seen so much over the last few years, particularly the last 2 years when the Bulldogs have been the national champions of college football. Just hit another gear, man. And I know that it helps when you have the ultimate weapon. That's what I'm going to call him, Brock Bowers. I know it. I think Brock Bowers, again, I've said this over and over and over. I'm on the record. Brock Bowers is the best player in college football. Brock Bowers should be a heavy favorite for the Heisman Trophy. I will say that. I know he plays a tight end / wide receiver hybrid position, and a lot of people they feel an obligation to first and foremost consider a quarterback. Brock Bowers is darn near unstoppable, and as long as he can suit up for the Georgia Bulldogs, they're always going to have a puncher's chance. But then, of course, it helps to have otherworldly talent and a defense that is just nasty. I'm looking at the numbers right now. Kentucky held to 183 yards. And I know Kentucky's offense, even with Liam Cohen back at the wheels, even though he took that respite last year in the NFL, he's come back, and they've got Devin Leary from NC State, and they're still figuring themselves out. To hold any Power 5 team to 183 total yards, that's pretty ding-dong impressive. But here's what's really ding-dong impressive, and that'll be our phrase of the day, ding-dong. And we'll get to that later. 55 yards rushing on 24 carries, 2.3 yards a rush. That's getting it done. That's getting it done. That's Georgia going next level. That's Georgia going Georgia level of the past 2 years. Just so impressive. And then, of course, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Brock Bowers. Just what an athlete. 7 receptions, 132 yards, touchdown. And even that doesn't tell the story. It doesn't tell the story. Brock Bowers is just a matchup nightmare, and he creates so many things. So we'll talk more about Georgia the further down the line we get, because right now I put out my top 25 today. Georgia, again, number 1. And I had knocked the Bulldogs down to third, given how they have been so sleepy and lethargic, particularly in the first half of many games this year. Next level when it counted. So I got Georgia 1, Michigan 2, Ohio State 3, Florida State 4. We'll get on more about that in a moment also. Notre Dame. That's another mea culpa here. It's coming. I sang the praises of Notre Dame, even with one loss, that being that last second defeat to Ohio State where they only had 10 players on the field and all that. And I still felt that Notre Dame was A, the best one-loss team in the country, and B, better than some of the undefeated teams in the country, many of the undefeated teams in the country. I felt Notre Dame still had a path to the playoff. I really did. especially after seeing how resilient the Irish were winning at Duke. Duke now a hard place to play. Go figure. I liked what I saw at Notre Dame. They looked so efficient on all sides of the football. I was just really impressed. And what do? They go and lay an egg at Louisville. And no disrespect to Louisville at all. I mean, Louisville now ranked 15th on my top 25 after being unranked. It's what beating Notre Dame 33-20 and dominating does for you. And part of it can be laid at the feet of Sam Hartman, who I still praise, still think Sam Hartman's a wonderful quarterback. But the turnover fairy is a BFF, an estranged partner, if you will, of Sam Hartman. 22 of 38, 254 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, quarterback rating of 27.1. You're not going to win many games. You're definitely not going to win many games on the road when you're doing that. And Sam Hartman, remember, turnover prone at times, even at Wake Forest, where he was rewriting that school's record book. So Notre Dame dropping down in my rankings now. 2 losses. They're now 19th. Louisville, welcome aboard. You're number 15. Notre Dame not going to the playoffs. And suddenly the game against rival Southern Cal this week doesn't seem quite as important, at least not for Notre Dame. Of course, they could still ruin Southern Cal's chances. I am of the belief that if Southern Cal loses one game, it does not get into the playoff. I'm just not that impressed with what I see on anything but offense. The offense is otherworldly, and as long as they can keep outscoring everybody, they're going to keep winning. But they're going to face a Washington, going to face an Oregon, they're going to face a Utah. They're going to, if they do get into the playoff, face a team with a formidable defense. I don't like Southern Cal's chances, and I don't think the selection committee will reward them. Here's one for you. Here comes Bama. Bama going into Jimbo land, Texas A&M coming away with a win, 26-20. And I get this feeling with Milroe at quarterback, Jalen Milroe at quarterback, with them going back in time a little bit to look like the Bama teams of about 10 years ago before they reinvented themselves with Lane Kiffin as the offensive coordinator and joined the party with up-tempo offensive spread, RPO, all this, that, and the other. They're still doing some of those things. They're doing a lot of those things. But at the end of the day, they're about ball control, clock management, defense, converting third downs, and running the football. And Nick Saban is loving it. And with that loss at Texas being the only miscue right now, looking good so far, looking like they're figuring themselves out. Alabama now first place in the SEC West. Not only looking like it's a favorite to go to the SEC championship, but if it goes there, wins, presumably over Georgia, it's going to get in the playoff. A lot of football remaining, but still, we've kind of seen this movie before. So it's worth monitoring. Another interesting tidbit. Oklahoma winning the Red River rivalry over Texas, but Texas ain't dead. I don't think that says anything derogatory about Texas. Oklahoma's a very good football team, and it was a close game, 34-30. But Texas, there's still a pathway for Texas to get to the playoff. The Big 12 will offer enough opportunities with a Big 12 championship game. Kansas State still out there looming, even though they looked awful against Oklahoma State. I think there's a path there. They've got that win over Alabama. There's a path for Texas to get to the playoff. And, of course, Oklahoma as well. Oklahoma in the driver's seat right now. But I'm not ruling out Texas having a path to the playoff, and I'm not going to say, oh, well, Texas isn't back. No, I think Texas is back, and I think that was a close loss to a rival, a very good team that has matured quickly under Brent Venables. So I'm not going to say anything derogatory about the Longhorns. I did, however, drop Texas down in my top 25. I had the Longhorns number 2 going into week 6. Now number 9, still time to make up. They can make up space. I actually have Oklahoma up. Moved Oklahoma up from 12-5, so good on the Sooners. Oh, by the way, mentioned Southern Cal. The Pac-12 still pretty good. Still like the Pac-12. Guess what? 7 Pac-12 teams in my top 25. 7. UCLA now joining the party at number 24. I love this conference. It's last year in existence, and it's given us a heck of a swan song. My goodness gracious. Loving the Pac-12 right now. And I would be happy. I would be so happy if we have a Pac-12 championship that ends up being Washington State and Oregon State. It's not outside the realm of possibility. I got Washington State number 20 right now, down 6 spots. Down 6 spots. They lost to UCLA. UCLA coming in at number 24 now. But it's still within the realm of possibility. They need some help. I got Oregon State. Oregon State up to 13. This could happen. This could happen. Or if at least one of them gets in and has a shot at winning it and then actually pull it off. My goodness gracious. For those left behind, how would that be? And our next point before we get to the halfway mark of this episode. The mess in Miami. Or is it Miami miscue? We've got to give it some kind of name of what happened down at Coral Gables. Miami winning, beating Georgia Tech in control, up 20-17, 33 seconds to go. Georgia Tech, no timeouts. What do? Take a knee. Victory formation. They have taught this since the beginning of time, since they started wearing helmets. No. They decided to run the ball. Donald Chaney Jr. might or might not have been down. Either way, he was real fumbling. 2 plays later, Georgia Tech scores, wins the game 23-20. And now Mario Cristobal, the coach of Miami, who this happened to him before, 4 years ago, similar instance, lost in overtime, I believe, to Stanford. He's saying they should have taken a knee. That's it. How can that not be a reflex action? How can that not be like a Pavlovian exercise? When you see the clock, you see the score, you see how many timeouts each team has, and it automatically triggers you to take a knee. How can that not be like Pavlov's dog with the bell ringing on wanting a treat? It baffles me to no end. Baffles me to no end. And it just really douses cold water on everything Miami's done up until this year, up until this game. It really does. Miami was undefeated, looking like it was, quote unquote, back. Had them at number 17 in the country last week. Game at North Carolina this week, number 13 last week. Oh, they're up to number 12 now. Just would have had tremendous stakes. It still does, but it's just kind of like, It's kind of like that Southern Cal Notre Dame game. It's like, And now Miami's got to go on the road, got to play a ranked team, and it's got this bouncing around in the back of its head. If I'm a fan of the U, an alumni of the U, any of the boosters or whatnot, I'm beside myself. I'm beside myself. Because even when things are going right, you have something go wrong. It's just baffling. It's just baffling because this was an opportunity to just slam the door shut on Georgia Tech. And so many other things that would have been tethered to this. I mean, when you think about giving away a win, you start looking at where you're falling in the hierarchy of bowl games later in the year. ACC championship. Where does that put them now with regards to that? I mean, you look at the standings. There's Louisville, Florida State, North Carolina, all undefeated. Duke at 4-1. Miami, also 4-1. I can't wait to see how the tiebreakers work out with no divisions in the ACC and so many teams that are going to be tied that don't play each other. No head-to-head contest. They're going to need a massive computer the size of a room from like the early 1950s with lots of buttons and lights, beep, 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 spitting out those cards to figure out the tiebreaker scenarios. But I digress. The mess in Miami. How are the Canes going to move forward? What's the temperature in Miami right now? And I'm not talking about the literal temperature. I want to know about the fan base. I want to know about the team. I want to know about Cristobal. He says he's sorry. Says it's on him. This is going to stick with him for a long time. We're going to discuss it on the other side. We got Manny Navarro, covers the U for The Athletic. He's going to join us on the other side. I'm going to ask him about what happened at Coral Gables and get his take on the state of the program right now. Stick around. More of the Scott Hamilton Show to come.
Hello, sports fans.
FanStream Sports.
Hey, you like golf? There's a good chance you do, because I said so. But what do you need playing golf? Well, you need clubs. Right, clubs, you need balls. The thing that people don't usually think about is that golf bag. And that's what most people see when they look at your golf clubs, like right off the bat. And if you've got a raggedy bag, it's not doing you any favors, bud. So get you a new bag. Go over to orca-golf.com. Orca-golf.com. Why are you going there? You're going there because you want a golf bag, but you want one that's kind of screams you. So you want to pick the colors.
Papers for
well,
the
you can use your own
30,
custom
60,
colors.
90.
Maybe you have a logo in mind. Maybe it's your
the merger.
logo. You're like, prints. Just have a symbol. That's the case, dude, you can get your logo on there. Your name, just get it done exactly like what you want it done by actual designers. Nothing goes out of their factory without the approval of the founder, Erica Bennett, who is just brilliant. We've seen some of her bags. We've got one of them actually in the studio. And you know what? Dude, it looks good. If you want other people to look at your golf setup and go, man, that just screams Frank. You want that? Then go over to orca-golf.com. Do yourself a favor and use the promo code DSP10 for 10% off and free shipping. I'll say that again, DSP10 for 10% off and free shipping. So do it today because Orca Golf is the best choice in the game.
Hi, golfers. IndyCar Tim here. I want to talk to you a little bit about Golf Central Magazine. It's not just a golf magazine. It's the magazine for everything. Turf, travel, philanthropy, and lifestyle. Head over to golfcentralmag.com and check out the latest issue. Some of the regular features in Golf Central Magazine: the Golf Bachelorette of the Month, the Golf Bachelor of the Month, the Golf Cart Girl of the Month, Golf History, Grip It and Sip It. So head over to golfcentralmag.com. It's free. It's the magazine for everything: turf, travel, philanthropy, and lifestyle. Golf Central Magazine at golfcentralmag.com. We'll see you there.
All right, guys, time to talk a little bit about Turf Life. You've seen the hats on our heads. You've been or seen the video of the studio. You've seen that the decals are all over the place. Turf Life. Man, it's the brand that salutes the consumer and industry players everywhere whose lives involve turf. What does that mean? That means if you play or have a business or, maybe you're a sports educator, you're going to be on turf at some point. So you live the turf life. So go ahead and tell everybody you live the turf life by having your Turf Life window decal or, the hat or the keychain or the something. Along that lines, just go to turflifeclub.com and become a turf head. That's what it's called when you live the turf life. You're now a turf head. And you can go join the club today and snag that window decal or snag any other special Turf Life accessories and go over there to that website, which is turflifeclub.com, and get your stuff and show everybody that, man, I'm all about that turf life. And then you just kind of raise your coffee mug at them and go, yeah, turf life, baby. That's what it's about. And then that's the end of the commercial. Ding. That means it's done in microwave talk.
Hey, listeners, make sure you check out the brand new FanStream Sports in-studio text line. You can reach us during any of our live shows or 24/7 at 214-937-0569. That's 214-937-0569. Text us 24/7, day or night, and we'll reply to you and make you part of the show.
Coming back at you. Now, more FanStream Sports.
Welcome back. 8 teams previously in my top 25 lost over the weekend. And some of that's because you had a ranked game. You had a ranked opponent versus a ranked opponent. So, of course, there's going to be some numbers there with that. But 4 teams lost to unranked opponents. And that includes the Miami Hurricanes, maybe laying the biggest egg of the weekend, definitely throwing up on themselves because A, it happened at home, and B, well, that whole not kneeling when you're ahead to lock up the game thing. It's just absolutely mind-blowing. And we're going to dive deeper into that now. We got Manny Navarro joining us, the esteemed Miami beat writer for The Athletic. And Manny, I'm just going to real simple, brother, real simple. What the heck? What the heck, man?
Such an unbelievable collapse and catastrophe, really. You think about how horrible Miami played in that game, to be up 3-0 at halftime, fall behind 17-10 fourth quarter, come back and take the lead because you start making some plays, and then to just shoot yourself in the foot. And not, the thing I've said repeatedly now about this in the last 48 hours is they didn't even look like they were interested in taking a knee. And there was no hesitation on the sideline. You watch that game. It's almost as if it wasn't being discussed at all. It's like, no, this is who we are. We're, bravado over brains. We're just going to pound our opponent into submission, and Georgia Tech's just going to go quietly into the night here as we run out the clock. And complete failure from the top down. Mario Cristobal knows it. He has to own it now. This is who he is. He's the coach now who has lost 2 games. Don't forget, 2018 at Oregon, he did it against Stanford. 2 games because he didn't want to take a knee. And so for Miami, just catastrophe. And hopefully, I've covered this program a long time. I've seen what these kind of losses do. They usually fall apart afterward. I'm hoping that's not the case going forward.
Yeah, I'm racking my brain. First of all, I guess what was the reasoning behind it? I mean, did he have an excuse? Were they trying to work on something? Were they trying to make a statement? If you're trying to make a statement, just come out and make a statement, or was it
Yeah.
just a brain cloud? What happened?
Yeah, like I said, I didn't even think they considered it. Mario just said I should have called the timeout. We should have taken a knee. But again, I didn't get the sense that was even. You watch the broadcast. Matt Hasselbeck and everybody else who's there broadcasting that game for ESPN. They were talking about it during the broadcast. What is Miami doing? They're not even paying attention to the clock. They're snapping it with 6 to 8, to 10 seconds left on the play clock on the final drive. It was almost as if they just took it for granted. We're going to run the ball out again. Bravado over brains. Like, to me, Mario, this is who he is. He's a former offensive lineman who feels like you have to impose your will, and none of his explanations really made any sense to me at all. Miami only won 5 games last year, so they didn't have many opportunities to take a knee. So I don't know if maybe they just don't practice it. They just don't believe in it. I just know it was a monumental mistake. And look, in defense of Don Chaney Jr., replays look to me like his elbow was down. It shouldn't have been a fumble. But the bottom line is they put themselves in that position for the referees to make a difficult decision, and they lost the game because of it. So for Mario, again, it's inexcusable. It's just bottom line. It's inexcusable. Can you imagine what the world would be like today if this was Nick Saban who had done this? Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, if they say somebody who'd won a championship had done something like this. Mario doesn't have that on his resume. So it's not as big, I think, as it could be.
You bring up an interesting point, though, and I actually told somebody this morning. This is going to follow Mario Cristobal throughout his coaching tenure, throughout the rest of his life, no matter what he does, because what is the one thing we bring up about Nick Saban? It's losing to Louisiana Monroe his first year at Alabama. Yeah. It always comes back in his face. The good news is he's gone on to redeem himself pretty well after that loss to Louisiana Monroe. But this is next level, man. I mean, this isn't a team that didn't perform and it falls on the coach. This is a coach. I mean, victory formation is a thing, Manny, for a reason. And I know they didn't get to use it a lot last year, but man, come on, man. We're joined by Manny Navarro, The Athletic. Follow him on Twitter at Manny_Navarro. Manny, just a few more minutes, please. I'm looking at the box score, and Miami wins basically every single key statistic except turnover margin. How much of that falls on the feet of Tyler Van Dyke? How much it falls on the feet of offensive line, receivers running wrong routes, so on and so forth?
Well, you go back and you review. He should have had 4 interceptions. He had another ball that was dropped in the end zone. Tyler at times stares down his receivers a little bit far too long. And I was looking at some of the target numbers for this season. He and Xavier Restrepo, Miami slot receiver, are best friends. They've been best friends since they got to school together. He is Tyler's security blanket. It just feels like when Tyler throws the football to somebody else who isn't Xavier Restrepo, it just feels like his pass, his timing, it just isn't where it needs to be always. And I just think, he's kind of gotten used to Xavier being there to make every play for him. You go back and you look at one of the last picks that led to Louisville field goal that was returned, all the way back deep in Miami territory. Poorly thrown ball to Jacoby George. If you're watching what Louisville's doing on defense, and he knew they were playing cover 4 most of the night, they were just dropping guys back and saying, hey, we'll give you the underneath stuff. He just didn't want to take it. He wanted to force the ball into windows that weren't there. And, I don't know if this is ego on Tyler's part. Hey, I got to impress NFL scouts. I got to show them my arm. I got to make these kind of plays. But it completely backfired on Miami. And again, just monumental catastrophe on both sides of the ball, because let's not forget, I know we're pointing the finger at Tyler Van Dyke, but they also had to give up 74 yards in 26 seconds and a touchdown to lose that game on defense. And Cam Kitchens, who's your All-American free safety, bites when he should be playing prevent. So it was a comedy of errors all the way around. Everybody important for Miami let them down on Saturday.
Miami not able to enjoy prosperity is basically what it is. They're off to a good start. They seem to be going in the right direction. North Carolina this week at Chapel Hill. This is going to be an incredible. I mean, you talk about a quick turnaround to not only prepare for a ranked opponent, but to compartmentalize what just happened a few hours ago, really 72 hours ago, 48 hours ago. What are your expectations this week? And kind of, if you can, and I know, Manny, right now it's scalding hot, but the temperature of the Miami fan base, are they just saying, as you kind of alluded to earlier, that this is the beginning of the end? Or do you think that now, after they have seen some success under Cristobal, maybe they have a little bit more resiliency mentally to say, okay, it's not going to fall out completely, not yet?
Yeah. Well, look, first of all, North Carolina is a heck of a team. Okay, let's not just overlook them and say Miami's going to come on the field and out talent them. I think Drake May makes North Carolina a special football team. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the country. This is going to definitely be the toughest offense Miami has faced thus far. I know they beat Texas A&M in week 2, and you know A&M's unfortunately undergone some injuries here to their quarterback Connor Wegman and so forth. But this team that they're facing in North Carolina with Drake May is elite offensively in my mind. They're one of the best balanced. So this is going to be a challenge for them on defense. And so to me, the first quarter is going to tell us what this Miami team is all about. Tyler Van Dyke, Cam Kitchens, Matt Lee, their starting center, who's one of the big pieces to this team in the screen. You saw Matt Lee yelling and just what are we doing? Those guys have to reel everybody in this week and just say, hey, we still got everything in front of us. Don't forget here, Scott. Miami's got Carolina. They've got Florida State. They got Louisville on the schedule. Those are the 3 undefeated teams in the ACC. Go beat them, and you got a pretty good shot at getting in the ACC championship game. So not everything is lost for Miami, and I think at some point they're going to remember that and they're going to show up and play well. I expect them to play well. Do I think they'll win? I'd pick Drake May. Listen, Mac Brown's won 4 in a row against Miami. He knows what he's doing. So I would pick North Carolina to win, but I think Miami's going to show up to play football.
Yeah, the spread 3.5 points in favor of the Tar Heels right now. He's Manny Navarro, The Athletic. Follow him on X at Manny_Navarro. Manny, before I let you go, what are you working on? What can we see in The Athletic in the near future?
Well, I wrote a column about Mario and what happened, obviously, and I'll have a mailbag. A bunch of fans obviously have a lot on their mind after what just happened here on Saturday. Heisman straw poll, of course. I do a lot of different things for The Athletic now. Our week 6 takeaways. There'll be plenty of stuff that I'll be involved in. But as far as Miami's concerned, I got a mailbag that's piping hot with complaints. So that'll be next for Miami.
Are there any messages coming in from a John Ruiz, maybe, or somebody like that? I mean, I would love to know what that guy was thinking Saturday night. If you find out, shoot me a text, please. Oh my God.
Yeah, John Ruiz, he's got a lot to deal with himself, with the feds and so forth, and everybody coming after him for his financial woes. But look, Miami's in a good place. Think about where Miami was just a couple years ago. They weren't spending money on coaches. They weren't investing in football the way they're doing that under Mario now. There's a big difference. And I think, people have always looked at it and said, when's Miami going to be back, right? That's the question. I think they're on the path back. A win Saturday sends a strong message to me that, hey, you know what? We blew it against Georgia Tech, but we really are heading in the right direction. So we'll see what happens Saturday.
Manny Navarro, you're the man, brother.
All right, man. Anytime, Scott. Take care.
Welcome back. Excellent interview. Excellent time with Manny Navarro of The Athletic. Man, the thinking that something bad is inevitably going to happen, that is a Pavlovian exercise for Miami, considering everything that program has endured over the last few years, and that they're finally pumping money into the program, and the older players, the alumni, the guys who were there when they were the U, coming back and getting more involved and helping with recruiting, helping with coaching, helping to set this culture, to establish this culture that will allow Miami to compete for not only ACC championships, but presumably national championships, and then to have it undermined by your own coaching staff, an alum who knows success as a player, who knows success as a coach with the likes of Alabama. Man, because if you hire this guy, Mario Cristobal, you hire him to be your coach, and he checks off every single box: Miami native, Miami alum, former player, yada, 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 learned at the feet of Nick Saban. And he checks off every box, championships as a player, championships as a coach. You can't do better than that if you're Miami. That's why it was such a slam dunk. It was inevitable. It was like Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet coming. I am inevitable. It was like that with Mario Cristobal coming home, leaving Oregon, a sweet situation, which looks even sweeter now with them going to the Big Ten. But to leave there and to go back to Miami, And to have this happen. Not the players, nobody else responsible for this. It's Mario Cristobal. It's Mario Cristobal. And I guess after that, you can say every other coach that has a headset. Why isn't somebody speaking up? Why isn't a grad assistant grabbing a headset, or the strength coach? Well, the strength coach probably like, yeah, we got to go just show them who we are. We get 5 more yards here, even though it means nothing. Somebody a player should have grabbed and said, Coach, why aren't we taking a knee? Why didn't Tyler Van Dyke, the veteran quarterback, say, Coach, let's take a knee and get out of here. I want to go have mojitos on South Beach tonight. I'm baffled and I'm perplexed. But what this has done, while it has stripped me of the curiosity factor with regards to what Miami is capable of this season, had it been going into this game this weekend undefeated, it has heightened the curiosity factor with how they will rebound. And that is something that will, again, we will attribute directly to the coach, Mario Cristobal. How is he going to get his team to rebound? How does he get his team to give him a pass? It's on him. He has to get them to forgive him. Hey, guys, this was on me. I'm the coach. I should have done better. Maybe they can spin it into a good thing, that he shows he's not infallible, that he shows that, you know what, communication. We've got to communicate, guys. If somebody thinks I'm disagreeing or somebody's going to disagree with a call I've got, this proves that every voice in the room matters. Maybe that changes things. Maybe this is for the good of Miami long term. The bad right now, but maybe the good long term. We'll see if Cristobal can spin it into that. Want to thank Manny Navarro again for joining us. Just outstanding segment with Manny. As always, if you don't have the FanStream Sports mobile app, get it now. It's good for Android, good for iPhone. Don't forget to hit up the FanStream Sports Facebook page. Give it a like, give it a follow, whatever, comment. Good, bad, leave it. Let us know. And as always, you can follow me on Twitter, X, at ScottH4456. The DMs are open. I want to know what's on your mind, but I've got some stuff planned for this week. Don't forget to hit up my top 25, fanstreamsports.com. Let me know if you think I got it right. Let me know if you think I got it wrong. Let me know what I might have missed. I love your input. But I've got some things set up this week that I think we're all going to really enjoy as we continue to look back at week 6 and get ready for week 7. Man, the season's going by just so fast. But I'm enjoying every second. Until next time, be safe.